Good evening, everybody. Welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, we're here tonight for an episode of Commonalities Compared. This is a show that I do every Sunday night in which my subscriber Ben picks a couple of rock commonalities. Could be two drummers, could be two bass players, could be two bands, could be two albums, could be two album covers, could be anything that's common to each other. And I just basically talk about the two things. That's all there is to it, not really much more. So today he's chosen a couple of New York bands. And this dates back to 1973. The two bands are the New York Dolls and Kiss. This is kind of a band that... So the two bands, the New York Dolls, had their they started together in 1971 and had their debut album in 1973, which is coincidentally when Kiss had their debut album. Kiss always says that the New York Dolls were a huge influence. Many bands have said that about the New York Dolls. Kiss is just one of them. Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. The list is fairly lengthy. The similarities between Kiss and New York Dolls is, other than the fact that they both came from New York at around the same time, producing their own first solo albums roughly at the same time as well, they also wore makeup and dressed up the part, almost like drag queens. And Kiss, of course, wore their makeup too, which was much more extensive, but still, that was one of the things that drove the Kiss to produce their makeup thing was liking the New York Dolls. The New York Dolls, of course, were a New York band, same as Kiss was. The problem with the New York Dolls is they only had the two albums. They were a hard rock. They had some hard rock to their end, but I really kind of think of them as a punk band. A little bit of a punk blam with some glamour rock thrown in there, whereas Kiss was a hard rock band with a lot of glamour rock thrown in there. Obviously, the New York Dolls didn't reach the same level of success commercially that Kiss did. Kiss was a monster act commercially, where the New York Dolls were more in the realm of influential, lots of bands following them into their different realms of music. For me, I was never a huge fan of the New York Dolls. I knew a long time ago when I first discovered Kiss back in 75, 76, was listening to them. I heard this stuff from members of Kiss talking about the New York Dolls, specifically Ace Frehley talking about liking the band a lot and following them. So I listened to them, but they weren't really my style of music, and so I never really followed them. Not at that time. Later in the late 70s and early 80s, I kind of liked punk music a lot more, but at that point in time really wasn't something. I never really followed the band, never had any desire to really follow the band. Obviously, Kiss had a much bigger impact on me than the Dolls did. They were the band that I followed almost exclusively the first three and a half years of my rock, getting into rock music, yeah, definitely. I chose this album just because this is, to me, the kind of the height of Kiss right here, you know. Yeah, both interesting bands. The Dolls, of course, had was a 5-member band, whereas Kiss was only a 4-member band. But Kiss took it much further as far as the makeup and the dress and the costumes and everything were concerned. The Dolls kind of went more that punky way. And I think part of the reason that Kiss succeeded is because they were driven to be successful, whereas the Dolls seem to fall victim to that same thing that a lot of rock bands fall victim to: drugs and alcohol. Yeah, and so that kind of destroyed them, I think. So, anyways, two interesting bands. If you want to check out either, you can find them easy enough on, well, Kiss. Millions of things will come up if you punch them in, but if you punch in the Dolls, you'll get New York Dolls, you'll get a list of their stuff as well. Most of their albums are available online if you're looking just to listen to them or check them out. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Commonalities Compared. If you have, please hit the notification bell. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And if you want to make any comments about either Kiss or the New York Dolls or anything I've said, you can do that too as well in the comment section below. And we will be back next week with another episode of Commonalities Compared. Have yourself a good evening. Take care and goodbye.